Hello and welcome to What's Trending. My name is David. I am the editor of Tire Review, and today we are speaking with Rob Williams. He is the president of Hankook Tire America Corp, and we are talking about the company's newest Dynapro offering, the HPX. Let's get to the interview. Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. During SEMA, you announced this new tire, the Dynapro HPX, and I've been dying to talk with you about it ever since and kind of get nitty gritty into the details here. So we're talking about this all-season touring tire. It's built for SUV owners. How does this new tire complement the rest of Hankook's Dynapro offering?
Yeah, and David, thank you for having me and Hankook. We're excited as well to talk about our Dynapro family, specifically the HPX. But to answer your question, we've got 5 different products within the Dynapro family. And if you kind of think about it from a highway tread all the way through to a mud terrain, we have the entire segment covered. Mm-hmm. The HPX would be, as you mentioned, for the SUV owners who really want a great highway tire, limited off-road use, but a couple of the real benefits that the consumer will see from this tire. First, it's got a 70,000 mile tread wear warranty, great all-season traction, all-weather traction. We've got compound technology we put in the tire to help with the wet weather traction, smooth, quiet ride, and low rolling resistance also helps on fuel economy. And David, as you know, with the tire, it's always a compromise. How do you try to meet the needs with so many different applications? And the HPX is truly that tire that can give the highway performance to light off-road usage, but really the smooth, quiet ride, great wear. And it's kind of our go-to tire for these SUV owners. And as you mentioned, the other tires, we can talk about those if you like, that have been around, but the HT is a great highway tread, more for a 2-wheel drive vehicle. Mm-hmm. Our Dynapro AT2 Xtreme is a great tire that kind of crosses over between somebody with maybe an SUV that has an all-wheel drive, gets off-road a little bit. They want a little more traction in the off-road conditions. And then we go to the Xtreme. As you're aware, the rugged terrain is a tire that for somebody that's really like a Jeep enthusiast, that they want to get off-road and have that great service capability. And then our MT2 is a mud terrain for those mud boggers. When they get into those extreme situations, they know that tire can deliver. So for us, the HPX kind of rounds out our entire portfolio of Dynapro products, and we're really excited to get that launched here in Q1 of 2024.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that 70,000 mile warranty, which I would consider to be fairly strong.
Yes.
What goes into the engineering, the R&D of a tire where you're trying to accomplish those things that you were saying, the quiet ride, the smooth ride that the customer is looking for, but then also being able to deliver that 70,000 mile warranty.
Right. And obviously, as you mentioned, David, technology, R&D, innovation is at the core of everything we do here at Hankook. But needless to say, we have to have that compromise that I mentioned earlier. But some of the capabilities we put in this tire with the low rolling resistance, the footprint is a very smooth, wide footprint. So that basically has an equal distribution of the weight that also allows for the tire to wear better. And the one thing that we've recently done, I'm sure you've heard over in Korea, we've got a state-of-the-art test track, unlike any other in the world, that we do extensive testing on any of our products before we roll them out. So we put them through all world conditions to make sure that it'll deliver when it comes here to North America, whether it be up in Wisconsin and the rough weather you have in the winter, down to Arizona when you get the extreme heat. So I think to answer your question, Dave, is you really got to understand exactly what the consumer needs, make sure you build the tire to those needs, and then you give it rigorous testing before you put it on the market. And that's exactly what we've done with the Dynapro HPX to ensure when it gets on a consumer's vehicle, it's going to deliver everything that they're paying good money for when they get that tire on their vehicle.
And how do you go about simulating those different conditions? How do you simulate, the icy, snowy weather that you might get, and then also be able to simulate the
Right.
dry, arid heat that you might find in the southern part of the U.S.?
Yeah, and Dave, that's a great question. Obviously, the test track we have, like I said, it's all conditions that you can actually test. And we've had the ability to take some of our dealers over to Korea to see that test track firsthand. But we fully understand that every weather condition is one end to the other. So typically, it's a controlled environment on the test track, needless to say. But then we also have to take that out to real world conditions. So we will then take that tire and we'll test it in, Switzerland up where it's extreme weather, or we'll take it down to somewhere in Southern Europe or even in Southern Korea or here in the U.S. We've got a technical center up in Akron, Ohio, that we can do some of that testing. So to your question, the controlled environment is great, but you also have to do that real world testing to make sure that product is going to hold up in all those different weather conditions. Typically, from the time we start developing a tire to the time it hits the market, it could be 2 years plus that we've gone through all of the R&D, all of the technology, all of the testing. And then once we get it on the market, we're very confident it will deliver on the mileage that we put on there from a tread wear warranty. We know that the traction is going to be extremely well. That's the reason why we give it a higher rating score. The temperature, as you know, is a great adversary of tires, that we make sure the tire can dissipate the heat as well, because that's also a big enemy of a tire from a wear standpoint. So all of that rigorous testing has to be done in all conditions before we ever allow the product to get onto a consumer's vehicle.
Yeah, of course, gotcha. So this product, if your dealers don't already have their hands on it, I'm sure they'll be getting it very soon, and I'm sure they're very excited to start selling this product.
Yes.
Do you have any initiatives or support systems in place to help them kind of move this product?
David, absolutely. As you mentioned, we initially launched the Dynapro HPX from a media standpoint the first week in November at SEMA. We've since followed up with several initiatives for our dealers to stock the product. Basically, we call it an opening order. Hey, get a nice opening order in where we can give you a discount. If you want it to come straight to our warehouse, we can do that and then redistribute it to you. If you want to get what we call a direct factory container, we can actually give you a larger discount where we can ship it from one of our plants. Today, we make the Dynapros in either here in Tennessee, we make some in Indonesia, we make some in Korea. So depending on the SKU, we can pull from any of those different plants, but each of them will carry some type of opening order special. And needless to say, we've done a lot of advertising with you guys and others to make sure we get the brand awareness out. Because I think for any of our dealers, the main thing is we want to let the consumer know we have something on the market that would be a great application for them. We had the HP2 that was the predecessor that did extremely well. And now the HPX is just a next generation with a longer mileage warranty and better traction. So fortunately, a lot of our dealer partners are already familiar with the predecessor of the HPX. So therefore, it's just a matter of, giving them the benefits and the features. We've got a training team here in North America that we send out to help train our dealers. We do a lot of online training for our distribution network as well. And I think the main thing is you got to have the product in the right place at the right time. And today, I was looking at our numbers. We've got, I think, about 15,000 tires in the pipeline coming into the U.S. Some have already landed. Some have already been put into our dealers' distribution centers themselves. So we really expect to have this product fully covered in the U.S. By the end of Q1. But today we do have several thousand that have already hit and been distributed to some of our key partners.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. The global supply chain is stabilizing in a lot of different respects. So how is your team kind of managing any remaining distribution challenges? Are you still seeing that? Is that still affecting that tire pipeline that you had discussed?
Yeah, and David, I mean, for late 2021 and 22, and even probably the first half of last year, it was definitely a great challenge. It is much improved, but we have really been focused, like I mentioned, on getting the right product in the right place at the right time. Our supply chain team has worked tirelessly with folks that help us move our product to get it from, we've got 8 plants worldwide. So we make sure that we've got lanes, travel lanes well established, that we've got contracts in place like most everybody else. But the fact of the matter is right now, our fill rate is probably as strong as it's been since well before COVID. Our main SKUs, we have good coverage. It's really working close with their dealer partners to look at their forecast, where they need product and when they need product. And that's exactly what we do every day. Our sales team, our supply chain team, our demand planning team, our customer service team all collaborate together with their dealer partners to make sure that we're indeed getting that right product exactly where they need it and when they need it. It's a big job, but it is much improved over the last really 18 months. We've seen a big turnaround in supply chain improvement.
That's wonderful, and I know a lot of dealers are going to be happy to hear that for sure.
Oh yes.
I wanted to turn to trends in the marketplace for a moment, especially when it comes to a new product like the HPX. I mean, of course, we've been seeing for a while now more drivers turning to SUVs. It's becoming more popular in the U.S. What sorts of trends are you seeing among that kind of driver base? And how is that affecting the evolution of the Dynapro line? Going from the HP2 to the HPX, what did you kind of have to consider or keep in mind as you were designing this new tire?
Yeah, and Dave, that's a great question. I think we all know that the SUV segment has grown immensely, in the last 10 years. I'm going to date myself a little bit. When SUVs first came out, it was really looked upon as more of an off-road type vehicle. If you had an SUV, you were typically more of that enthusiast that wanted more extreme condition capabilities. Today, SUVs have become literally the family vehicle. Maybe you take it off-road when you go camping, but we found out that consumers have a wide range of needs, and that's where we had to look at ensuring that we had products to meet all the different needs of those SUV owners. I'm going to say today the HPX and the AT2 Xtreme are definitely our best sellers, definitely the main priority product, if you will, for most of the consumers that drive SUVs. And the reason why I say that is I mentioned earlier, they want the long mileage, they want the great wet weather traction, they want the smooth, quiet ride, they want to make sure that their fuel economy is improved with a better quality tire. The HPX kind of fills all of those needs to where the AT2 Xtreme is for somebody that might say, look, I go camping once a month or every so often with my family, but when I get off road, I need to have a little better traction than what that HPX can deliver. And that's where those two really are, I'm going to use the word the 80-20 rule, probably 80% of the application really falls with those two products, because that SUV owner has got to have that smooth, quiet ride, the mileage when they're going back and forth to work, taking their kids to practice. And that's where we've really focused based on what the consumer's needs are. We're really looking at the market, asking the consumers and the dealers what they need, and helping to fill that demand.
Excellent. Well, Rob, thank you. This has been really insightful for me, and I'm sure it will for our audience as well. So thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us.
And David, my pleasure. Thank you for having myself and Hankook. We look forward to speaking again real soon.
Absolutely. Take care. Okay, big thank you to Rob for giving us the time here. Like you said right up front, designing a tire, it's all about compromise. You want to get as much of that good stuff as you can into that tire and leave out as much of the bad stuff. And it's just really great to see tire technology getting us to the point where, that bad stuff it's not so bad anymore. I mean, of course, there are always compromises, but we're at a point where consumers are getting pretty happy with the products being put in front of them. So I really appreciate the conversation here. Hope you'll join us next time. Take care.